Portions of this show are recorded. Strap in and be prepared.
You just heard Baby J about 3 minutes give his entire A to Z on what was going on. I didn't interrupt you.
I don't even like I got to everything, honestly.
No, you didn't get to everything.
Interesting guests.
Kelly Graves, Mike Parker, Josh Pate, Melissa Lombardi, Yogi Roth, who said that Justin and I are smart.
Sharp opinions.
I can see Dan Lanning sitting in his office, rubbing his hands together and saying, yeah, bring it on. You're just giving me juice.
I think you could be the type of team that has guys that excel in certain things. You don't need somebody that's great at everything. You need to be able to put guys in position where they're going to succeed.
And some smiles.
Is this thing on?
Is this thing working? No, that's why you got to do this. You got to go.
Hello?
Hello? Testing, testing,
it's like the little
testing.
girl in Nemo where she's tapping on the glass.
Fishy! Fishy, wake up, Fishy!
It's Danny Hamill.
We have to be more specific. We have a lot of pickle things going on,
know.
apparently.
Justin Grossweiner.
It's a Schwar bomb. That's a man right there hitting that ball.
Danny and Justin starts now on Fox Sports Eugene and Newport.
Hello, neighbors, and welcome high top the Delta Chai and the Crystal Palace, the Fox Sports Eugene and Newport studios, the Bigfoot Beverages studios. This is the fastest 60 minutes in sports talk. This is the Danny and Justin radio program. Yes, you're not imagining things. It's actually happening right now for the next hour of the fastest 60 minutes in sports. And I've just taken up 90 seconds of it. So that's something you can't get back anymore. But we're going to try and inform and entertain you today. We have the mayor of Rip City, Travis Demers, going to join us in just a few moments. We also have the head men's basketball coach from Bushnell University. The Beacons are cracking open their home schedule in just a few days. We'll talk to Eddie Alexander on the program today. Also, go all around the hard floors as Oregon State was in action last night as they unveiled their men's basketball team in non-exhibition action. Oregon women were on the home floor. Oregon men attacked the home floor tonight. Oregon State women, they're out there as well. We'll also have a little football to talk about. There's a lot to cram in just an hour. We also have tickets to give away for tonight's matchup for Oregon men on the hardwood against Hawaii, the Rainbows. So we'll do that in the last segment, so stay tuned. The Oregon Man Clinics hotline at 541-343-5673. I am Danny Hamill right over there. You know him, you love him. Tag team partner Justin Grossner. I would call him Baby J. What up, boy?
Hi, Danny. How's it going?
Howdy. My car is getting coated with ceramic. I don't know what that means.
In a good way or a bad way?
It was planned.
Okay.
So that I've got a loaner from our good friends at Mercedes. Good friends Britton, Carrie, Lisa, sales executive extraordinaire Lisa, who hooked me up with my new rig, my GLA 250.
Well, you know, it's funny. When I was coming in here today, I was looking for your car, and I kind of forgot. I was looking for the white one. I guess I have to look for the black one, but it sounds like I would be looking for the wrong car, even right now.
I park in the same spot, pretty much.
I know you weren't there. I knew you weren't there.
Yeah.
At the time.
Okay.
You're here now, though. We're all here now.
We're all here, all together as one big happy family. We got to race another two-for show. We've been doing quite a few shows with a couple of interviews. And we still get to talk, but I love that we have guests that want to come on the program. And it's not, it sounds egocentric. Everybody wants to come on your program. We do have quite a few people request, and since we only have 1 hour, we have to be very mindful of what's going on. And so we want to talk a lot of Oregon football this week, a huge week for the Ducks as they're off their work week and heading to Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes. It's going to be a top 15, maybe 15 matchup, top 20 matchup at least. The CFP rankings are going to come out tonight. Where do you think Oregon falls? I say 5.
Well, that'd be raising, right? Because it'd be higher than they were.
But that's
a lot of people think that they're going to be lower, actually.
You think they're going to be lower than 5?
I don't think so. I think a lot of people think that they're going to be lower than I think they're 6 right now, aren't they?
They're 6 in the polls.
In the
I don't
AP
care about
right
the
now?
polls. Yeah.
I think they'll probably be around 6. I think that's 6 or 7.
And because of the class of opponent they've played and beaten and the one that they let get away.
Right.
That's what you think? Is there going to be a shock? Is Indiana going to be the number 1 team, outlasting Ohio State?
Why would they be?
I don't know. Because
they
beat Oregon?
I've seen some people saying that Ohio State needs to prove that they're a good team, which I think is hilarious, but those are some SEC folk. I don't know. I think that Oregon's going to be around 5 or 6. I think that Ohio State and Indiana are going to be 1 and 2, and then I think they're going to stick a bunch of SEC teams up
Texas
there.
A&M will be up there. Is probably number 3.
Alabama is going to be up there. I think
Alabama, and don't be shocked if Alabama's above Oregon.
Oh, I wouldn't be. That's yeah. I think that they are probably going to end up above Oregon,
which will be a lot of great content for us tomorrow.
Right.
In fact, we will probably try and dedicate the first half hour of the program at least to football.
But it will be fun, though, to actually have some projectability and say, well, if the playoffs started today.
Big word, dude.
Well, I guess
projectability.
So. We have all the bracketology for college basketball, so why don't we just have some bracketology for college football now, right?
No, I like projectability.
Yeah, well, I think it's fun, though. You get to look at what the matchups would be today if it started today, and you can kind of look at, well, these two teams have to play each other in the championship game, and so there's going to be some movement and stuff. But it's all starting up now,
It's
right?
all starting to come together, just like we planned.
But then this is college football, so nothing goes as planned.
They announced the first round matchup dates and times. There's going to be one game on a Friday night. It's going to be like an 8 p.m. Eastern kickoff. And then there's going to be 3 games on Saturday, which I think the 19th and 20th of December. So keep those things in mind as well as we start seeing how the brackets form out. But since we have such a busy schedule, let's hop right over to the Oregon Man Clinics hotline at 541-343-5673 is the gentle voice of your Portland Trailblazers that you can hear right here on Fox Sports Eugene, and is the mayor, Travis Demers, joining us. You can follow Travis on Twitter at Travis Demers. Travis, last night, a tough one for the Blazers as they take on a cast of cast-offs. No Luka, no LeBron, and yet the Lakers pull out the win 123-115. And the Blazers were they came out and they really played well at the beginning, but wow, this was kind of one of those odd games.
So the Blazers had a 13-point lead in the second quarter, and you're thinking, okay, they're going to stomp these guys, right? And then the Lakers make a run at the end of the first half. It's a 1-point game going to halftime. And you're thinking, okay, they'll figure it out. They'll get past them. And then the Lakers take the lead in the third quarter, 68-66, and you're thinking, they got to figure this out, and it never happened. And the Lakers found a way to win, and I think it's because the main reason, obviously you could look at the shooting and some things like that, but the main reason is the Lakers just played harder. They played harder, and they played smarter. They got to 50-50 balls. They got to rebounds. They made plays where it counted. And the Blazers just didn't. And, yeah, there are a thousand things you could look at that game, but if you had to pick one, I think that's the most important thing.
DeAndre Ayton makes a nice homecoming back to Portland after a short stint in Portland. He pours in, 29 points, 10 rebounds. I think that's the right line. Mm-hmm. And he sat with 5 fouls forever. And I remember, was it in the first half he picked up his 4th personal foul, and then he picked up his 5th early in the second half, but then he played with those 5 fouls. He still played some significant minutes.
Yeah, I think it was early in the third quarter he picked up his 4th, and then got the 5th a little bit later on. Then he had to come out, and Jackson Hayes came in, and then he got hurt, so he had to come out. So the Lakers are playing small, and they had essentially Jared Vanderbilt at center, and the Blazers tried to go big and have Donovan Clingan in there, and it wasn't working. So then they had to go small, and that messed with the defense a little bit. And then it was just a domino effect from there. But Ayton was great. I mean, once he got booed at the beginning of the game, and that place booed him last night.
Wow.
After that, he locked in.
Yeah, locked in domination last night. But it was as a team, the last couple games, it hasn't been very pretty from the three-point line. And as a whole, the Blazers actually shoot the 7th most three-pointers in attempts per game. So on paper, I feel like this is a team that shouldn't be like a bad three-point shooting team. But is this going to be a team that lives and dies by the three-pointer?
No, they shouldn't be. If they do, that's a mistake, right? Yeah, they've been shooting a lot of threes. Part of that is also because that's what the defense is giving them. And because they've had such good ball movement through the early part of the season, they've gotten open looks. And I'm waiting to talk to Tom Haberstroh and hear from him. But, the numbers he's talked about, this team has gotten a lot of open looks, and they're just missing them. Mm-hmm. You look at last night going 9 for 40 is bad. Tumani Kamara, who shot 38% last year, he was 3 for 11 last night. I think he's under 30%. Or maybe right around 30%. Drew Holiday, is now at 32%. He was over 40% in the first few games of the season. Shaden Sharp has struggled shooting the three. To your point, yeah, there are some guys in this team who can absolutely shoot, but they haven't been doing it. And fortunately, they've found other ways to get it done. But they've had some good games shooting three, too. I mean, they made 21 threes against Utah. They've had some good games shooting. But of late, yeah, it's been really rough from the outside. And I think there was a stretch, like the second and third quarters, they were like 3 for 20 from three. And it's hard to win that way. And then the way they settled for threes down the stretch of that game, when they were trying to shoot themselves back into it, they weren't running any offense. They weren't moving the Lakers defense around. They were just shooting, trying to make threes and climb back in it in the last 2 minutes, and it was not working.
And just digging into the numbers a little bit. It's interesting. The Lakers actually didn't win the rebounding battle last night. The Blazers did end up winning it. But overall, the Blazers are a top 6 or 7 offensive rebounding team. But at bottom 2, they're the second worst defensive rebounding team, which I feel like isn't really typical. You feel like teams, if they're good at offensive rebounding, they're usually good at defensive rebounding as well. What do you think is leading to that?
Well, it was that way last year, too, and that was a big focus going into this season. To your point, yeah, it's not a common thing. But last year, I think the Blazers were second in the league in rebound rate and were near the bottom of the league, and I should say an offensive rebound rate and second chance points, and near the bottom of the league in defensive rebound rate. And it's been the same way this year. I think part of the reason for that is they have some really, really good offensive rebounders, right? Donovan Clingan has become one of the best offensive rebounders in the league. Tumani Kamara has the second most offensive rebounds through, what was it? I think it's 150 career games as a Blazer of anybody in franchise history. They have some really good offensive rebounders, but that's not translating on the defensive end of the floor. And that's something this team has really talked about, because when you're not defensive rebounding and you're giving the other team opportunities, and you work hard for 24 seconds or 18 seconds in the shot clock, and you force a bad shot and they miss it, and then they get their rebound, well, now you have another 14 seconds to do it again, and then sometimes again. And it's really demoralizing as a defense when you give the other team 2-3 chances in that, and they have got to be better there.
The mayor of Rip City is Travis Demers. You can follow him on Twitter at Travis Demers. He joins us here to talk Blazers as they are going to conclude a very short homestand, just 3 games tomorrow night against the OKC Thunder, coming in at 7 p.m. You can hear it right here on Fox Sports Eugene. And then out on the road as the Blazers make the Florida swing and then go through Nolens and Texas, as they will be out for 5 games before returning home 2 weeks before Thanksgiving on a Tuesday night, November the 18th against the Phoenix Suns. So 4-3 on the season thus far. And again, so we still have small sample size. We talked a lot about this last time you were on with us, Travis. But one player that kind of stuck out to me as I'm trying to find the little nuggets here, Chris Murray had a nice little stretch in a couple of defensive pressures and such, and played 22 minutes last night. I mean, the expectation of Chris Murray is that, role player, not necessarily going to be the superstar, but he's starting to show he can contribute some significant minutes.
He's been so good, guys. I mean, I'm glad you brought him up, Danny, because what he's done, like this team has some injuries right now, right? And he was going to be in the rotation anyway, but with Matisse Thybulle being out, obviously Scoot's been out and is going to be out for a little bit. Now Blake Wesley is going to miss at least a couple of months. That gives Chris Murray more minutes. The defensive side of the ball, he's been very good since he was a rookie, but like there have been times where Kamara will come out of a game because he's picked up fouls or something, and then Chris will come in and pick up his matchups and defend the best player on the other team. But his ability to get to the rim, that's what's impressed me the most about him. He's been a good rebounder, and he has a nose for the ball, but finding a way to drive and cut and navigate through defenses and finish at the rim, I wasn't expecting that. And I think that's the biggest improvement of his game. And there were times early in his career where he was just unplayable, and because he wasn't shooting the ball. He hasn't really taken many shots, and he's passing up on threes to drive, which is what he needs to do. And he has become a really valuable piece right now.
And the Blazers, you want to talk about the Lakers being shorthanded. The Blazers are a bit shorthanded. You already talked about Scoot Henderson. And trying to find a lineup that's going to gel, I think, is going to be the biggest challenge in the first couple of weeks of the season. And I'd say they're wholly shorthanded. Robert Williams III comes back from the Rip City remix. Jan Hansen goes down. That's not surprising. He's going to be a development player. But talk about the rotation that you're seeing right now, and are the Blazers settling into one?
I thought they were.
Until last night.
No, until Blake Wesley got hurt, really, and Matisse Thybulle, right? Because Blake Wesley has essentially been the backup point guard on this team. When they signed him, he wasn't really supposed to be in the rotation, right? He was going to be that third point guard, get some spot minutes here and there, but then, Scoot goes out with a torn hamstring, so that moves him up the depth chart. And if you look at the minutes before the game last night, Drew Holiday was getting 32 minutes a night. Blake Wesley was getting 16 minutes a night. And it's not a perfect overlap, but, that's 48 minutes, and that's basically your point guard position. But now that he's out, you essentially have one player who is a primary ball handler. And that's a problem, because when they don't have somebody, I'm not saying that nobody else on this team can initiate the offense.
Right.
But when you don't have somebody who's job is to be the primary ball handler, and that's what they have a lot of experience doing, it stalls the offense. And we saw it in the second half of the Denver game. And we saw some issues there with the offense, moving the defense. Eventually they were able to figure it out because they forced a lot of turnovers and got out in transition. But that was an important part of Wesley's game and his speed, and he can cut. And when they, collapse the paint and it opens things up on the outside, that's one of the reasons they take so many threes, is because they want to get 1, 2, 3 paint touches per possession. And when they get it inside, it opens up shooters on the perimeter. So they've been able to do that. And then they get offensive rebounds, and okay, they miss one, but then they'll get another chance. And we've seen that this year, where they'll get 2, 3 chances to shoot threes because they're getting offensive rebounds. Well, that's one less player who has the ability to draw and kick like that. And then on the defensive end, he's been such a spark. And I really believe that he was the spark against Denver to turn things in the third quarter. They didn't have that. So they used Sidi Sissoko last night to kind of be that spark. And his energy is there, certainly, but he's just so raw in some of his skills that he doesn't have the same abilities that Blake Wesley does. So I think in terms of, the rotation that you asked about, I know I went on a tangent there. I never do that.
No, you never do, Mayor.
Never. But in terms of the rotation, I think Blake Wesley's injury really changed things around, because we saw different minutes from different players early on in that game that we might not have seen before. And it was just a domino effect. And then because, Donovan Clingan was struggling against smaller lineups and really wasn't playing very well against DeAndre Ayton, they had to change things up there. Tomorrow against the Thunder, even with 3 or 4 guys hurt, they're still the best team in the league. So I'm not sure what the rotations are going to look like there. I think Thiago Splitter is still trying to figure all that out.
How long does it take? Because the early season NBA, sometimes you don't know exactly what you're seeing, if something's a fluke, if someone's just caught, if someone's cold early on the season. But how many games does it take to really know if you can draw conclusions from what you're seeing?
Honestly, I think it's about half the year. And I go back to the Celtics the year they won the championship. When the Blazers beat them in Boston on January 21st that year, that put the Celtics at 500. And so at that point, you're a few months into the season. Mm-hmm. And that's when things really started to click for them, because they had, some new players on that team. Drew Holiday was new to that team. They had a new coach at the time, and Joe Mazzulla. And it took a good 45, 50 games for things to really click for them. I think they were, 25 and 25, or they might have been 25 and 26 at the time. And then the final 30-plus games, things really, kicked into gear for them. And that's kind of to me, a prime example of how important it is to have continuity and time together, because I think it takes a good 45, 50 games to really figure out what you have. And to me, like what the Blazers are doing defensively with their intensity and pressure, that's for real. There's no question that's for real. But there's a reason why you don't see, teams in the NBA do the old Nolan Richardson 40 minutes of hell, because it's really tough to sustain that for 48 minutes for 82 games and then still have something left in the tank for the playoffs. So to me, the question for the Blazers defensively is what they're doing for real. Is it sustainable? And I think that's something that time will show us.
Well, 123-115, the loss to the Lakers last night. OKC coming up, and then out on the road, Mayor. So this next stretch for Portland and one of the longer road trips they're going to take, how important is it for the Blazers to start establishing that identity? This is your last question before we let you go.
Yeah, and it's tied for the longest in games, but it's the longest in days because we're actually leaving a day early. We leave Thursday and don't play in Miami till Saturday to get acclimated to that time change, which, I mean, who wants to spend the day in Miami doing nothing? But, yeah, I think they have established the identity,
okay,
especially on the defensive end. But I think it's really the offensive end and learning what Tiago Splitter is implementing, because that's what he was brought in for, was to change the offense up. And if you notice, they don't take nearly as many mid-range shots as they did. It's at the rim, it's in the perimeters, a lot of ball movement, less standing around, less guys just hanging out in the corner and things like that. And that's a process, right? The defense enforcing the turnovers and getting points off of turnovers has kind of masked the learning curve there a bit because they've been able to find other ways to score. But I think, the defensive identity is there. It's just really getting everybody on the same page consistently on the offensive end.
All right, so I know we did this last year for you, so as it'll evolve throughout the season, here's your first homework for binge watching some shows, Netflix show.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I got nothing. I'm waiting for Tulsa King to end so I can start it.
Okay, so The Diplomat is a pretty good one. It's Kerry Russell and Allison Janney and Bradley Whitford appear in season 3. So you got all 3 seasons that are dropped. The Diplomat. Okay?
The Diplomat. Okay. What platform is that on?
Netflix, I believe.
Okay. I'll add that to the list.
Okay. That, and you got Landman coming up, the next season of Landman coming up in a couple of weeks, but you'll be home by then.
But again, I got to wait for that to end, so I'm not waiting around for next week. As long as you don't give me anything that has, quadruple amputees again, I'll be good, because I'm so haunted by that.
Come on, man. Goliath was awesome.
Oh, it was. I love that show. But the end of season 2 is going to give me nightmares for the rest of my life.
All right, Travis. Enjoy your call tomorrow. We'll be listening to it right here on Fox Sports Eugene. Always, Mayor, a pleasure to have you around, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Is this Gorillas?
Yeah.
How about that? Nice.
How about it?
How about it? All right. Once again, thanks to the mayor, Travis Demers. We've got tickets to give away for Oregon, Hawaii coming up in a moment. But first, we're going to take a quick break. Be back. Eddie Alexander, the head coach of the men's basketball program at Bushnell University, going to join us next on the Danny Justin radio program. We do have a pair of tickets to give away for Oregon men's basketball tonight against Hawaii. We'll do that in the last segment of the program, so stay tuned for that if you want to go watch a little basketball tonight. It's let's see. Why don't they put the time right here where I can see it right? It's 7:30 tip. They should put it right there where it says game 1. They should put it there because that's where I'm reading.
Big, bold letters.
All right, I talked to somebody over at the U of O like they're really going to listen to me. Let's head on over to the Oregon Man Clinics hotline. We're going to tie it up for right now and welcome in a returning guest. And it's been almost a year, but it's basketball season, so we're happy to welcome in the head coach of the Bushnell University Beacons men's basketball program. It's Eddie Alexander. You can follow Eddie on Twitter at WEA3. As they're getting ready to crack open their non-conference season at home with a game against the Wildcats of Linfield that'll be this Saturday at 7:30. Coach, welcome back. How's the summer been?
Well, it feels like it's been a really long time ago since it was summer.
Well, you know what I mean. You're rolling out those basketballs, getting ready for the season. You're just inching into it right now. But a lot of the work does happen off season. You opened up this past weekend. You were on the road in Great Falls, Montana against University of Providence and then Montana State University Northern. So you found out a couple of things about your team this weekend.
We did. For as good as we could play on Friday, we actually hit the other extreme with playing as poorly as we could on Saturday. So, no offense to our opponents whatsoever, but, we played extremely well Friday. we still did some things really well on Saturday, but our defense left us, and our principals, I think we left them at the hotel. So just didn't execute on Saturday, which okay. We learned a lot about ourselves. We had a phenomenal film session yesterday, and when you lose, you're exposed to a lot of different things, and so we were able to go over that stuff and time to right the ship.
We're talking Bushnell University Beacon basketball here with the head coach, Eddie Alexander. And, Coach, you and I have known each other a long time, but for people who might not know about the Beacon basketball program and what the product's going to look like on the floor, you have a certain style that you like to run. It seems like you've got some of the horses to do that this year. So let's start there. What do you want? I mean, if you have your ideal team on the floor, what does it look like?
We're pretty quick. I mean, we've got some shooters. We're pretty quick up and down the floor. We've got a couple big guys that can run well. One's more like a linebacker. Another one's more like a really long wide receiver. So it's going to be a fun style of play. We get up and down the court. We always really I tell the guys, you guys get the first 7 or 8 seconds on the shot clock. It's all up to you. Let's go make a play. And if it's not there, now we got to have some disciplined execution, pull the ball back out and execute something in the half court if we don't have something early and easy. So, but we like to push the ball. We like to push the tempo, play with a lot of pace. Scored 99 points last Friday. And then we just turned around and, lid was on the basket Saturday, shot in the low 30s or mid 30s and only scored 66, which is unlike us.
Well, I will also say that if people take a look down their nose at NAIA basketball, they're doing themselves a disservice. As I've said, to me, it's like if someone wants to relate it to me, it's like high Division II basketball. In fact, I think it's a better product overall. So let's talk about how you build this team, because obviously with a smaller Christian faith-based university as Bushnell is and a very strong presence in the Northwest, you really want to recruit your backyard first. So talk about that process for you, but then also talk about how you, when you go into somebody's room, living room, and talk to the parents and such, how you pitch NAIA basketball to them.
Yeah, first of all, with recruiting, we try to stay in the Northwest as much as possible. We'll get a player or two from California. Sometimes, through Northwest Connection, you'll pick somebody else up from another state. Or if they went via the way of JUCO and came to us through junior college, it could have been from anywhere. But we really, on the high school kids, we're really trying to focus in the Northwest. We branched out this year and went to Hawaii and picked up 2 kids from Hawaii this year out of high school that we see some great potential in that can really play well for us. So really kind of stick over in this area as much as possible, the United States. We want them to be less than a day's travel to home, we feel like is really important. And then in terms of, talking to the parents and selling them on NAIA basketball, I mean, we're recruiting the same players as, Western Oregon or any of the D2s up in Alaska or elsewhere. We're competing against the GNAC in terms of the talent level. So, yeah, I mean, we do have a really nice offering with the NAIA that I feel like people don't understand. And I guess the biggest thing is that, we're really still academic driven, which in the world, if you get caught up in the Division I world right now, no one ever talks about academics anymore. And so we're really still academic driven. We're really about developing the whole person. Especially at our university, the spiritual aspect of developing the whole person is super important to us. And then also, making sure that these guys leave with a degree and ready to go out and produce something positive in the world and making it a positive impact. We've put a few guys in pro leagues over the years and overseas and stuff. So, the talent level is extremely high. In terms of skill development, our guys can shoot just as well as any team out there in the country. But, obviously we're usually 4 inches shorter and lack a little athleticism comparatively.
You have a couple of kids who are very, very local. What does it mean to have those types of players in your program as well?
I mean, that's huge for us just because, the support system for those players, but also the support here for our games. Obviously we're not going to draw like a University of Oregon is going to draw being right next door to them. But getting that kind of support in our gym and packing the gym with 300, 400, 500 people makes a huge difference for our guys. And then we get the support of the local high schools every once in a while, especially when they have somebody that graduates and comes and plays for us. But, our closest guys this year, we've got a Junction City homegrown player in Caleb Burnett, who was the 4A state player of the year when he graduated high school, came to us and redshirted for a year. And then last year he was the freshman of the year in our conference. And this year as a sophomore, he's continuing to start for us. And one of the great leaders on our team, young guys who can really play basketball. So that support from local fans and stuff is really huge for us.
Eddie Alexander joining us, the head coach of the Bushnell University Beacons, the men's basketball program, as they get ready to crack open Cascade Collegiate Conference play in December. So we've got a few more games. After Linfield, you head out to Arizona for a couple of tough contests and then back on the road against Simpson. But let's talk about the Cascade Collegiate Conference. And for people who have not experienced what happens in the CCC, this is kind of like the SEC of NAIA basketball. I mean, with College of Idaho, with OIT, with Southern Oregon, and then you'll always have somebody like a Northwest or Bushnell poke their heads up and kind of make a rise and a run. But talk about the top-to-bottom competitiveness of the Cascade Collegiate Conference, Coach.
Yeah, College of Idaho won the national championship last year. College of Idaho won the national championship the year before. So let's just start with at the top. We've got one of the best programs in the country in our conference. And then, OIT has won multiple national championships over the years, and that program's always in the top 25. You've got Southern Oregon, who has really made a rise in the last couple of years. They've got a rough start to this season thus far, but with all the returners that they have, Southern Oregon's a very tough school and usually one of the top teams in conference. Eastern Oregon's up there. And then, you just Lewis and Clark State College, also over in Idaho, great program over there, fully funded, and that's always, usually a top 25 team in and out of the top 25, most often. And so just a really competitive team top to bottom, competitive conference top to bottom. We're probably, if we're ranking conferences, we're probably second or third toughest conference in the country. We're one of only two conferences that play our conference games back-to-back on the road, the way we do in our style of play. There's another conference that's doing a little bit of that this year, the Frontier Conference, just based on how big that conference has become. But yeah, our basketball it blows people away. And, we have a couple of people who out there nationally that promote NAIA basketball. And one of the common themes is that, we're the best value for your entertainment if you want to go watch a basketball game.
Coach, as you build this team throughout this season, what is the expectation? Obviously, we just talked about the competitive nature of overall NAIA, but specifically in close to home, the CCC that you have to end up competing in. Is it the whole adage of defend the home floor and then win half your road games and you're going to be in great shape? Is that enough?
Yeah, if you're going to win conference this year, you're probably not going to have any more than 2 or 3 losses in conference play. It's going to be tough to win conference with more than that in terms of losses. But, you always want to defend your home floor, right? So if you can sweep your home stand over a weekend, that's a huge thing. And then when you're on the road, you always got to split your road games. Going 0-2 on the road can really hurt you in conference standings. You can go from, third all the way down to 5th or 6th in a weekend, and that's tough. With our national voting and rankings coming out, every couple of weeks, you only get 3 or 4 games to really improve your standings or fall on your face, right? So those road trips and home stands become extremely important. And, when you can split a road trip, especially going over to OIT and down to Southern Oregon, going to Klamath Falls and then down to Ashland on Friday, Saturday game and traveling in between and everything, and splitting a road trip like that with a quick game turnaround and not a lot of prep time. Those are great road trips. And when you can come home successful one-on-one or even on a 2-0, those are huge. Those are huge.
And you mentioned a couple of the players you got from Hawaii this year, one of those being a brother of a guy that people are very familiar with, obviously, Dylan Gabriel, his brother Roman. And I'm just curious, what is it like coaching a guy like that? Obviously has a very impactful athlete as a brother, but what is it like coaching Roman, who I'm sure wants to create a career of his own?
Yeah, Roman's a great kid. I mean, just first of all, he's just a great kid, comes from a great family. And when Roman came over on his recruiting visit, he was so polite, and he came up to me. He's like, Coach, can my brother come to lunch with us? And I was like, sure, why not? So we went to lunch with his parents and Roman and Dylan, and we had a really good lunch, really great conversations and stuff. And Dylan really spoke highly of his younger brother. It was great listening to them and their close relationship. And Roman is, he is dead set on making his own mark. Most people don't. When he first got here, of course we're in Eugene, right? So people knew who he was. Mm-hmm. But when we're out and about, when we go places and do things, I mean, he never brings that up. He doesn't talk about it. People don't know, who his brother is and stuff. And that's exciting just to see Roman making his own mark and becoming his own young man and making really good decisions and just working hard. I mean, the kid he works so hard every single day. And that family has a tremendous amount of work ethic, you can tell.
Well, Coach, we'll be watching, we'll be following. We're going to have you back on the program as you traverse through your non-conference and then right into conference play. And that's tough right at the beginning of December. You got a lot of road games in conference, so you're going to jump right into the gauntlet there against Corbin, a traditional matchup, the closest rival to you in the Cascade Collegiate Conference. But best of luck against Linfield. Let's pack the Morse Event Center on Saturday night at 7:30. Thanks,
Danny. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate you guys and appreciate the local support.
No problem. There he goes, the great Eddie Alexander, the head coach. It's really a good product. Now, obviously, I have an affinity to that university, as everyone well knows. But I'll tell you what, when the Morse Event Center gets packed with those students, the band's going, everything else like that, and they bring over the U of O band at times as well, that place is loud.
Yeah. No, it can get fun in there. I've been there before. So.
Absolutely. It's good. And as he said, good bang for the buck as well.
Absolutely.
It's really entertaining basketball. All right. So when we come back, we're going to give you a chance to win some tickets to the MKA Oregon-Hawaii basketball tonight, 7:30. We're also going to run through that matchup. We'll talk about the Duck women. They open up their official 2025-6 basketball season. We'll talk about the win over West Georgia when we return on the Danny Justin radio program. Once again, thanks to Travis Demers, the mayor of Rip City, and Eddie Alexander, the head basketball coach at Bushnell University. And you're just reminiscing. Mm-hmm. It's one of your first games you ever called on the radio. Was at Bushnell?
When's the last time you played basketball? Talk a lot of basketball today.
When's the last time I played basketball?
Yeah.
Competitive?
You like
roughed it up with a bunch of guys, not just like a pickup game fun, like shooting game of horse or something like that?
Even a pickup game.
Probably my 25th high school reunion.
Okay. I'm not going to insult you by asking you how long ago that was.
Good. It was a while ago.
Well, everybody knows about my last time.
Yes, it's been well documented on this show. Thanks for tuning in to the Danny and Justin radio program as we race to the finish here on Fox Sports Eugene and Newport live from the Bigfoot Beverages studios. Nice to have some of our friends in. We're efforting a couple of folks for tomorrow as well. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet because we're going to have it confirmed. I don't want to get your hopes up. I just try and do it that way so I can let you down easy. But we always have backups upon backups. We're going to give away some tickets right now. How about we do that? Okay, let's head on over to the Oregon Man Clinics hotline and give you an opportunity at 541-343-5673. Lucky number 7. Caller number 7 at 541-343-5673. That is the Oregon Man Clinics hotline. We'll send you to the Oregon-Hawaii basketball game as you see the new edition, this year's edition of the Oregon Ducks under Dana Altman in his 16th year at the helm. They take on Hawaii. and that will be 7:30 tonight at Matt Knight Arena. It's a homestand that lasts until the 17th of November. It'll go Hawaii, Rice, South Dakota State, Oregon State, and then down in Vegas against Auburn and San Diego State, and then a TBD game the day before Thanksgiving. And then back home, December starts right in Big Ten play with USC. And then on the road Saturday against UCLA. So I think that would be there you go. Got all the basketball. So caller number 7 right now at 541-343-5673. That is the Oregon Man Clinic's hotline. I want to talk about Tom Brady saying his dog is a clone.
You do want to talk about it?
I do want to talk about it just a little bit. We'll leave that to the end to see if we have enough time.
Can we talk a little bit about this game, though, and about this team early on?
So it's okay. So the exhibition season was 1-1, which none of them counted. But against Utah, the Ducks won by 20. They go on the road, lose by, I think, 8 to Stanford. Yep. Wasn't great. Wasn't a great shooting game. Of course, I think people are going to jump to conclusions and say, "Oh my gosh, Oregon's not a great 3-point shooting team." It's 2 games into the season. Can everybody
No. What? It's actually 0 games into the season.
Right.
We got to keep that in mind.
All right, that's fine. Thank you. I appreciate that, Justin. Thanks for that. It's 0 games into the season.
Yeah.
Can we just stop
Those
talking
games
about...
actually didn't count, believe it or not.
Can we stop talking about what this team's going to be yet when we're 2 games or 0 games into the season?
Well, and also missing their starting point guard.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. I just
that's my whole point.
Stuff like this drives me crazy when people who think they're experts on stuff just start wailing away about, well, they don't know how to shoot the 3, and they're going to be in trouble this year because, oh my gosh, I'll tell you, if Jackson Shellstad decides he wants to start hoisting up 3s, go ahead and let him do it. There were guys last year on Oregon's team, and that was not a great 3-point shooting team last year for Oregon, but there were guys...
We had guys like TJ Bamba.
Who probably was trying to shoot his way through and allowed by the coaching staff to do that, shoot his way through slumps. And TJ Bamba could get on a streak, and he could go 5 from 7 from 3, and he would help Oregon win a game. But then there were the games where he was going 3 for 14 from 3 that just buried the Ducks.
Yeah, no,
right?
he definitely shot a little bit too many sometimes. But I think that the thing to keep in mind for this team early on is, and I don't know exactly when Jackson's going to be back, but
middle of November
is so important for making an offense fluid. And if you don't have the right guy, and I'm not saying that Waylon can't kind of step in, but he's not experienced. And that's the thing that when we talked to Dana Altman at Media Day, his big thing was, hey, it was really unfortunate to not have our only experienced guard that's been in our system and knows how things work here being out at the beginning of the season. He does think that's going to set them back a little bit, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't get some wins and you can't have a team grow while they're forming and in those bigger roles, and it allows them to sort of step back into their smaller role when the guy that gets back is the starter, and it helps everybody, I think.
I think I don't ever want to say somebody getting injured is a blessing, because it's not, because there's recovery and you never know how somebody comes back. However,
it can be the blessing in disguise,
It can, though, because it gives those players that might not, just to your point, the opportunity to see the floor a little bit more. Trial under fire sometimes
trial by fire
can be magical for some players. So let's just see how everybody calm down. Not everybody. There's a couple of certain people. Just calm down a second, and let's not jump to the conclusion. Again, it's just like with me in football. It's just like me with any sport. Give me a better sample size, then I'll tell you what I think of the team.
Right.
And we will find out probably nothing tonight. Let's just put this in context. Hawaii is not a good team. If this ends up being a quad 4 win, I would not be surprised. It probably will be a quad 4 win when the season's over. I'm going to just get so sick and tired of talking about quad 1, quad 2, quad 3. But that's what it's going to be. Hawaii, it's been tough for them. They do not play in a very competitive conference. They do not play very competitive basketball.
But I do think we can learn some things. I don't think you're going to learn how good this team is necessarily, but I think you can learn about what the style of play is going to be. And again, you're not going to see what it's going to look like when Jackson Shellstad's back, but I think like with the women last night for their game against West Georgia, I think that if you look at what they did and how they scored, and obviously the final score, like, you're not going to beat teams 100-59, but I think that you could see, like, wow, like, you have basically every player on the court has the ability to contribute, have skill, and be score from everywhere, and it just feels like a very dynamic offense. Where instead of it being like, okay, you have your point guard, and then you have your post scorer, and then you have your off ball players at the wings, it feels like, wow, you have this team where everyone can kind of ball handle a little bit, everybody can kind of score. And I think it's the same thing with the men, where you're going to kind of figure out like where are the kind of roles going to be.
We're going to find out more about this team end of this month, and hopefully Jackson Shellstad is back. So right now, There have been reports that they're targeting the game against Oregon State, which is the 17th of November.
Yeah.
The week before they play Auburn down in Vegas. So Auburn, San Diego State, those are going to be two high-quality Quad 1 programs that you're going to be playing. So that will give me more of a litmus test on seeing where they're at that point in the season.
Right.
If you've watched Dana Altman basketball over the last 15 years, you know that his teams historically are slow burns to get up themselves in the middle of January, then all of a sudden they start lighting on fire.
Yeah, I was going to say, it takes longer than November 24th even to really figure out how good his teams are a lot of the time because, man, it just takes a while sometimes. And I think there was a team a couple of years ago, maybe it was last year, that started off really fast and then they tapered down in the middle and they did it at the end again. But it is one of those things with his teams where they seem to find their way at the right time near the end of the season. It's a building process. So I'm not going to get too worked up over anything that happens early in the season. Obviously, you don't want to start losing every game because the thing about the tournament nowadays is it's about the things we talked about, those Quad 1 wins and the Quad 2. It's like it's a formula now, and that's what's kind of unfortunate. But unless they start just losing every game, there's not much to be concerned about, I don't think.
Here are your nuggets for tonight. Kwame Evans Jr., KJ, has not missed a game in his first 2 seasons at Oregon. He has played in all 71 games.
That's a good
one little nugget
good little nugget.
Ducks are competing in their 121st season in college basketball. Second, of course, in the Big Ten. And 780 is a number you should know. Coach Dana Altman has amassed 780 career wins. He'll eclipse 800 this season if everything goes according to form, because he's had 21 seasons ever since since he's been here at Oregon. I think. He is 5th among active coaches in wins. He has 17 NCAA appearances. There you go. All right,
pretty good.
Pretty dang good. The new edition of the Oregon women's basketball program was unveiled officially in a game that counted. 159 win, as Baby J just mentioned, over West Georgia in the season opener. 5 Ducks scoring double figures. 13 players, all of them saw action, made at least one field goal. Defense was all over the floor. They did just shoot 10 of 36 from 3. They forced 32 West Georgia turnovers behind 24 steals, including 16 steals in the opening half. Mia Jacobs had 16 points to go along with 6 rebounds in her official debut. Elisa Mevius added 15 points, 3 steals. Sarah Rambis pitched in 13. Good start.
I think you just kind of like what you saw. I mean, obviously, it's like a huge blowout victory, but as I said, I think you kind of saw a bunch of players that they could kind of do a little bit of everything offensively. When you have a lot of different threats on all the different parts of the floor, like it just seems like this team can score in 3 levels. They're not going to have the size inside that some teams that Coach Graves has had recently, but it's going to be fun to watch them kind of develop together.
Ducks continue the homestand Saturday, 2 p.m. women's action against Montana. So Oregon State unveiled their team. Close win. They beat North Dakota State last-second bucket, 67-65 in men's action up at Gill Coliseum. Josiah Lake II helped Beavers score the victory, converting a layup with just 2 seconds left. It was a back-and-forth game in the second half. Oregon State shoots 44% from the floor. Johan Munch had 10 points, missed much of the first half doing foul trouble. Yak, that I'm not making that up, also tallied 10 points. And Lake finished with 10 points and 8 rebounds. Isaiah Sy had 12 points, 5 rebounds. Team effort there for Oregon State. We're not going to get to the clone dog of Tom Brady. We'll just save that for tomorrow.
Oh, a joke!
I got fired from the bank today. A woman asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her.
Dad jokes!
So you get the dad joke today.
It's a Justin dad joke today. You forgot. All right, Danny. Why does the Norwegian Navy have barcodes on the sides of their ships?
I don't know. Baby J, why?
They Scandinavian. Scandinavian.
Congratulations to Michael Oswald. Thanks for listening, Michael, from Springfield. He is headed to Ducks and Rainbows tonight. There might be a rainbow out there. It's been
what
raining.
An interesting mascot matchup.
Ducks and Rainbows tonight at MKA. We'll be back with our little radio program in 23 hours from now, right here. Don't change that dial. Justin, I'll be back. Let's see. The bald one is next, and we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Put a smile on your face. Someone else's. They deserve it. So do you. God bless. For Baby J, I'm Danny. Peace.